Today's topic is lifelines of national economy. In this topic we are going to study about waterways. So waterways, they are the cheapest means of transportation. It is fuel efficient, environment friendly and suitable for carrying heavy and bulky goods. So as we remember, from the time immemorial, India was one of the seafaring countries, and the seamen, they sailed from near, far, carrying and spreading Indian commerce and culture. So in this, India has inland navigation waterways of about 14,500 kilometers in length. Out of these, only 5,685 kilometers they are navigable by mechanized vessels. So Indian waterways, that is inland waterways, they are divided into various national waterways. The numbers are being given. 5 waterways that we are discussing in our book. We are going to cover only those main 5 waterways. That is national waterway number 1. It is from Allahabad to Haldia on river Ganga, Bhagirathi and Hooghly river system. Waterway number 2, that is from Sadia to Dhubri. It is on Brahmaputra river. Waterway number 3, it is on West Coast Canal in Kerala. Waterway number 4, it is on the parts of Godavari and Krishna river along the Kakinada and Puducherry stretch of canals. Number 5, it is on Brahmani river from Matai river, delta channels of Mahanadi and Brahmani rivers, and East Coast Canal. So these are the 5 major national waterways of India. So there are other inland waterways also. They are being carried out also on the various rivers. Now second category of waterway is about what we are trading with other countries, that is being done through seaports. So India, 95% of foreign trade, it is moved by sea, and it consists about 68% in terms of value. So first port of India is Kandla. It is a tidal port. It is located in Kutch area of Gujarat, and it was made soon after independence to compensate the loss of Karachi port, as Karachi port was given to Pakistan after partition. It was also meant to ease the volume of trade on Mumbai port. It deals with the exports and imports of highly productive area, that is highly productive grain trip area of north and industrial area of Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Gujarat. Main port of India is Mumbai. It is the biggest port with a spacious, natural and well sheltered harbour. Jawaharlal Nehru Port was made after to help the Mumbai port with a view to decongest the Mumbai port. It also served as a hub of this area. Third port is Marmagao port. It is in Goa, and it was mainly made to trade the iron ore exports from India, shipping half of the India's iron ore exports to other countries. Now number 5, it is New Mangalore port. It is in Karnataka. We are moving downwards toward the peninsular area. So Mangalore is in Karnataka. It exports also iron ore that is mainly concentrated in Kudramukh mines of Karnataka. Kochi, it is the extreme southwestern port of India, and it is located on a lagoon. It is located in Kerala with a natural harbor. So it is having a natural harbor. Natural harbor is a area, a landform where body of water is protected and it is deep enough to furnish the anchoring of the ships. Now next port is Tuticorin. It is southeastern port of India. It is located in Tamil Nadu. This port has a natural harbor and has a rich hinterland. It handles a variety of cargoes to countries like Sri Lanka, Maldives, and to the coastal regions of India. Now, next port of India is Chennai. It is in Tamil Nadu and it is the oldest artificial ports of the country. It stands next to Mumbai in volume of trade. Visakhapatnam, it is the deepest landlocked and well protected port of India. This port was mainly made as an outlet for iron ore exports from India to other countries, particularly Japan and Southeast Asian countries. Paradip, nowadays we use also Visakhapatnam as a navy base of India. Paradip, it is in Odisha. It is mainly made for the export of also iron ore. Kolkata, it is an inland riverine port and it serves as a hinterland of Ganga Brahmaputra basin area. It is a tidal port which requires constant dredging of because as the silt and mud is deposited at the base, so it needs to be cleared. So dredging means clearing of mud and silt that is being settled at the bottom of the river. It is as you know, it is a deltic area, so it needs removing of the silt from the port. Now these are Haldia, one more port is there. It helps to relieve the pressure on the Kolkata port. So it is made as a subsidiary port to relieve the pressure of Kolkata port. These are the waterways of India we have covered. They are the main waterways. Now next means of transportation is airways. As we know, the air travel is the fastest, most comfortable and prestigious mode of transportation. It can easily cover difficult terrains like high mountains and vast dense areas. Dense forest can be covered by airways and long oceanic stretches can be covered with ease by the using this means of transportation, that is airways. So air transport was nationalized in India in the year 1953. Indian Airlines, Alliance Air, private scheduled airlines or non-scheduled airlines, they provide domestic air services to India, and besides there is an international air service, that is Air India. Pawan Hans helicopter, it is one more service that is being provided by the airlines. Pawan Hans, it provides helicopter services to Oil and Natural Gas Corporation in its offshore operations that like Mumbai High to inaccessible areas and the difficult terrains of northeastern states particularly, and interior parts of Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. So Indian Airlines operations, they extend to the neighboring countries also. They provide benefits to the South and Southeast Asian countries and Middle East, but it is a costly one and it is out of reach of common persons, but special provisions are being made to help the people of the northeastern states. With the help of the airways, they can easily work. Studied communication. As we know, communication is an act of exchanging information. We have used as a human beings various methods of communication in the with the different methods were being used in history. Now with the pace of change and rapid modern times, long distance communication is now much easier without any physical movement of communicator or the receiver. We can easily communicate with people because personal communication and mass communication, they are the major part of the communication in our country. So we are discussing two parts. Communication has two divisions, that is personal communication and mass communication. So first number, personal communication. It is the process of transferring or transmitting a message between two people. mobile phone, postal services, they are the example of personal communication. So number one, we are going to study about Indian Postal Network that covers personal communication. So Indian Postal Network, it is handled by Department of Post under the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. It is under the Government of India, and it is the largest in the world, one of the largest in the world. It handles parcels as well as personal written communication. Mails in India, they are divided into two categories, that is first class mail and second class mail. Now first class cards and envelopes, they are considered a part of first class mail, and they are airlifted between stations that cover both land and air. Second class mail, they include books, packets, newspapers, periodicals, and they are carried by surface mail covering land or water transport. To facilitate easy delivery of the mails in towns and big cities, 6 mail channels have been introduced by the government recently, and they are called mail channels. So 6 mail channels are working in India, named Rajdhani channel, Metro channel, Green channel, Business channel, Bulk mail channel, and Periodical channel. So personal communication we have covered. Second part of personal communication is telecom network. It covers two parts. First is STD services and second is mobile. As we know, STD is subscribers trunk dialing. This is being provided by the government as a special provision. Government has extended it to 24 hours facility to every villagers in the country. It is only possible due to the integration of development in space technology with the communication technology. Mobile services, as we know, telephone are both static and mobile. They belong to the category of personal communication also. It can be done by calling on telephone, taking a conference call, or any other means. So India is one of the fastest growing mobile network in the world and one of the largest telecommunication network in Asia. Mobile telephone has changed the way of working of India. Now let's come to second part of communication, that is mass communication. Mass communication is the process of transferring or transmitting a message to a large group of people through various methods like radio, television, newspapers, films, periodicals. And this category, it provides also, besides transmitting message, it also provides entertainment, creates awareness among people through various programs and policies. Now in this first number, it is All India Radio, Akashvani, Doordarshan, national channels. They help in transmitting messages. Newspapers in India is the second means, newspapers, periodicals and magazines. They are published in India. Newspapers publication is about more than 100 languages and dialects, and largest number of newspapers published in country are in Hindi, followed by English and then by Urdu. India has the largest number of periodicals and magazines also, and different types of periodicals and magazines, they depend upon the periods of their publication, like weekly publication or monthly publication. Second part of mass communication is films, and in this mostly the feature films we cover throughout the world. India is the largest producer of feature films in the world. It produces also short films, video features, documentaries, video short films, and Central Board of Film Certification is the authority, that is CBFC is the authority to certify both Indian and foreign films that are exhibited in India. So it controls what is to be shown to the people and what is not, and the grading or the is being given to the various films by this authority. Now, international trade. So international trade, as we know, it is about the exchange of goods among people and states and countries. We call it trade. Market is the place where the exchange take place, and when the trade is being done between two countries, it is called international trade. It could be done through sea, air, or land route. Local trade, it is being carried out between the cities and towns, villages. But with the advancement of international trade of a country, as we know, it is an index of economic prosperity of country, and international trade is also considered as a barometer of a country's development. So we are going to discuss what is the importance of international trade for the economic prosperity, or to show whether a country is advanced, developed, or developing, or underdeveloped. It is being checked by the international trade of that country also. Now, for this we are going to cover, first thing that is being checked is resources. As we know, they don't have any space bound. No country can survive without international trade. Resources or goods possessed by one country are required by other countries, and that is vice versa. So differences creates conditions that results in the trade. So that is the main reason why two countries are trading, as the resources are not are limited. So second, we have to maintain balance of trade. So balance of trade of a country, it shows the condition of the country. If it is favorable, for that we check the value of export and value of imports. If the value of export is more than value of imports, then the country is having favorable balance of trade, and if the value of imports is more than exports, then it is having an unfavorable balance of trade. India has trade with all the major trading blocks, all the geographical regions of the world. So we are trading with almost every country in the world. International trade has undergone a sea change in the recent years due to the improvement in the technology, particularly IT sector, that is information and technology sector. It has changed the way of trading of India in the recent years. Exchange of commodities and goods, they have superseded by the exchange of information and knowledge. That nowadays we are rather, instead of exchanging goods and commodities, we are exchanging information and knowledge more. Now India has emerged as a software giant at the international level, and it is earning large foreign exchange through export of knowledge, and as a result it leads to the income level of people is increased, it has risen. Now next topic is mainly major imports of and exports of India. So exports of India are agriculture, allied products, ores, minerals, gems, jewelries, petroleum products. Same imports, we are also having same petroleum and petroleum products, as our population is very big. Because of that, pearl and precious stones, chemicals, coal, coke, briquette, they are required for the industry and machinery. So main requirement that is coming in India is for the maintenance of the requirement of the industrial sector. Now last topic of this chapter is tourism as a trade. So tourism in India, it has grown over the last 30 years. foreign tourists they are arriving in India, they have increased, and that is because of the impressive hospitality of India, ease in the standard of living of India, budget stays that is being provided by the hotels to the foreigners, availability of all sorts of transportation. It also benefits the tourism department. Earning foreign exchange has also increased as a result of this, and more than 15 million people are engaged in tourism sector. So tourism, it helps in the integrity of the country, it supports the local handicraft also. So whatever we are making in our local area, that is also benefited because of tourism. Culture of an area, it also helps in developing international understanding. Those persons who are coming to India, we are able to understand their culture and they are getting knowledge about our country. And it also promotes inter-regional relationships. That means within two areas, people are able to have better relationships. They are working together, so this promotes the inter-regional relationships also. Now the government is also making an effort to promote various types of tourism. Nowadays, not only people are coming to visit India, but as a heritage tourism, but ecotourism, adventure tourism, cultural tourism, medical tourism, and business tourism. There are various forms of tourism are emerging, and this industry has shown a very potential for the development. So Indian tourism has a very bright future in the coming years. Now